Yes, you lot, it's Louis Talks Footy back again on the channel, and today I'm going to be doing a preview for Manchester City's return fixture in the round of 16 knockouts of the Champions League at the Etihad against Real Madrid. As some of you may know, I went to the Bernabeu for the first fixture. Obviously, we got slapped up 3-0. I didn't do a preview for that. I didn't do a review for it. It was my first ever European away day. We went to Real Madrid, went to the Bernabeu. Amazing stadium, amazing atmosphere. You've got to give credit to the Real Madrid fans. I was thinking, obviously, it's a massive stadium. It felt bigger than Wembley when I was in there. Like I say, there were so many Real Madrid fans there. The stadium was absolutely packed out. I was expecting, obviously, Real Madrid being the biggest club in the world, I was expecting there to be a lot of tourist fans, a lot of, kind of half-hearted fans. I didn't expect it to be everyone, everywhere throughout the stadium, be singing and chanting, and the atmosphere to be as amazing as it was, because it was absolutely incredible. So credit to the Real Madrid fans. Enough about the atmosphere, more about the game. Pep Guardiola did his Pep Guardiola typical thing and did a bit of a mad lineup. It was kind of a front three of Doku on the left, Haaland through the middle, and Savinho on the right. And then you had Semenyo kind of behind Haaland. It was a very weird one. I feel like Savinho chucking him in there at the Bernabeu straight away. He's obviously had a few decent games against Newcastle, and game before that I can't remember who we were playing, but I thought to chuck him in the way that he did at the Bernabeu at the deep end in a knockout stage of the Champions League, I thought it was a bit ludicrous, to be honest. And I remember looking at the lineup when he did it, and I was like, that's a bit of a mad one. Like, obviously, you're selecting him on form. He's obviously had a decent run of games. He clearly had confidence that Savinho was going to go and do a good job. And listen, Savinho wasn't absolutely awful, but I just think maybe we could have solidified it up a little bit by not putting Savinho in and had a bit of better choices in terms of who's starting. The Semenyo decision as well, obviously, if you'd asked me from the beginning, I would have said yes, start Semenyo, because obviously he's been done so well for Manchester City since he's come in terms of goals and assists and output, especially when Haaland's not firing. You need someone who's going to put the ball in the back of the net. And if Haaland's not doing it, the guy that is going to do it is Semenyo. So I see why he started him, but I think we just went too attacking. It felt like he was just trying to stick as many wingers as he could into that starting 11. I think it had to be either one or the other, Semenyo or Savinho. If not, start Cherki, because I think when Cherki came on, he made a bit of a difference. He looked a lot better. Obviously against West Ham as well. We'll get into that in a bit, but against West Ham, Cherki seemed to be a bit of a difference maker. So yeah, listen, you could criticise Pep Guardiola in terms of his team selection. There was a lot of young lads in there that haven't played at the Bernabeu, haven't even been in the Champions League. Look at Mark Guéhi. Again, I'm not saying that Mark Guéhi shouldn't have played. Obviously, he definitely should have. I would have picked Mark Guéhi to play, but maybe you look at the likes of Ryan Cherki instead of Savinho. Maybe even Foden instead of one of the other lads. But again, like I said, hindsight's a beautiful thing. As a fan, I can't sit here and criticise Pep Guardiola's decision making, because yeah, like I say, hindsight is an amazing thing. If we'd have played Foden, we would have lost. I would have said, why the hell did we start Foden? He's been totally ineffective. I've been very outspoken about Phil Foden and what his role in the team has been for Manchester City this season. For me, it's been non-existent. He hasn't really had a role. Every time he's played, he seems to have ghosted and been fairly ineffective. But Phil Foden's an experienced player. He's played at the Bernabeu. He scored big goals at the Bernabeu, so maybe we could have started him just for a bit more experience. But at the end of the day, we didn't get the result. That's all you can really take from it. We got absolutely outclassed in every single department. Defensively, we looked panicked. We looked frantic at times. We looked like a completely different level of team to Real Madrid in the worst way possible. It looked like top of the league playing bottom of the league. It looked like Division 1 playing Division 2. It looked like Premier League playing Championship. It looked like Champions League versus Championship. It was so bad. It really was terrible. There was periods of the game where we seemed to have got a little bit more control over it, passing it about a little bit. Periods of high possession. But we just didn't create anything from it, which was the most frustrating thing. It was such a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. I've rarely seen City be under the cosh like that throughout my time of watching Manchester City. Obviously, I'm 19, so I've seen amazing times with Manchester City. I've seen the best football City have ever played. And to go to the Bernabeu and watch us get outclassed in the way that we did was a bit of a shock, to be honest. Like I say, Donnarumma getting forced to kick balls out Some of the defenders looking very frantic, having to clear the ball away in times where we normally would have been able to play out from the back and get the ball into the midfield and transition it up the pitch and turn it into a goal. We just couldn't even do that at all. It felt like we couldn't string passes together. There was mistakes being made quite frequently, losing possession. It looked like we were just getting suffocated by that Madrid press. And it was really difficult, but you have to give credit to Real Madrid because they were absolutely relentless and they didn't give us a second to breathe. And every time they had an opportunity, they absolutely took it. Valverde, an outstanding performance. He literally should have had a standing ovation for that. There was a few moments as well from Courtois where he saved Madrid a little bit from conceding a goal. The one that particularly sticks in my mind is that Nico O'Reilly chance where he just had to get a touch to it, and he did, and it was an outstanding reaction from Thibaut Courtois, and that's why he's the best goalkeeper in the world for me. It was tough for City, and now we've got to overturn a 3-0 deficit at the Etihad, and it's going to be very difficult, and to me, it's impossible. It just is. There's no way in the Champions League against Real Madrid, 13, 14 times winners, I can't even remember what it is now. There's no way that they come to the Etihad 3-0 up and bottle it. That would be the biggest bottle job in history. There's no way it happens. Absolutely no way. Especially when you look at the way the two teams played last week. There's just zero chance we overturn that. Absolutely no chance. So listen, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow tomorrow when we get knocked out in the round of 16. I was hoping that City were going to do a little number, get a bit of luck, and maybe beat Madrid and Bayern and PSG and get to the final. That's what I was hoping. I think when you get to the knockout stages of the Champions League and you look at the run, there's always an element of belief. There's always some kind of hope that you can get there, get to the final. You can see a world where your team can get to the final, and that's what I was doing with City. When I was looking at the running and predicting the Champions League, I was looking at it and just hoping that we could do something. And listen, it's not happened, and we're going to get knocked out tomorrow night, so I don't really know what else to say about it, to be honest. We can have a look at how the two teams might line up for tomorrow's fixture. If it was me, I'd be lining up with Donnarumma, Aït-Nouri, Guehi, Diaz and Nunez. I think Kushnov did look a little bit out of his depth at times in that game against Real Madrid. I totally understand why Pep Guardiola started him, and I did get behind that decision a little bit. I was thinking coming up against someone like Vinicius Jr., you need someone who's going to be really pacey, and obviously Kushnov is that guy. Nunez is also very quick. I feel like obviously Kushnov is a lot more defensively solid than Nunez, but I do think we missed Nunez going forward in that game. Maybe Kushnov, it was maybe a little bit too early to be chucking him in at the Bernabeu. He has done it before though, he's knocked up Vinicius before, but yeah, he didn't do it last time. Moving into the midfield three, and this is a very difficult one. I'm literally trying to think of this as I'm doing it because I think it's really difficult. I really want to fit Ryan Cherki in to kind of have a free role to drift off to that left-hand side if he needs to and link up with Ryan Aït-Nouri because we know those two can link up very well. Then I've got the issue with wanting Doku on the left because I feel like Doku has to play there. And Semenyo didn't play very well against Madrid. When Haaland's not firing, you need someone to put the ball in the back of the net at the end of the day. Semenyo's the guy that's going to do that if it's not Haaland. I'm really struggling with this one. I'd probably go Rodri. I think O'Reilly has to play. Bernardo, I feel like he has to play based off experience. And if anyone's going to get a comeback or spark a comeback, I feel like it could be Bernardo Silva in this team. We saw what happened against Liverpool, albeit this is a completely different monster. So I'll probably go Rodri, O'Reilly, and Bernardo in the midfield three. In terms of front three, do we drop Haaland? I'm just thinking about this now. I'm literally just thinking about this now. Do we drop Haaland? He was so poor and non-existent against Real Madrid. There was even times where a ball flashed across the face of goal and there was very, very small half chances that City made. Haaland wasn't there to put him in the back of the net. I feel like City has to go bold with this if we're going to do anything. And maybe dropping Haaland just to mix it up a little bit. It didn't work at the Bernabeu. It just didn't work and it felt very one-dimensional. We didn't have any ideas. Maybe it's time to drop Haaland for this one. I don't know. You know what? Let me go bold. If it's up to me, we're dropping Haaland. We're putting Doku on the left. We're putting Cherki on the right. And we're putting Semenyo through the middle. Oh, Marmoush. This is so difficult. I'd probably play Semenyo through the middle, Doku off the left, and Cherki on the right. I don't know how that'd really work. Listen, you lot are gonna have to tell me in the comment section down below what you lot think about this, and you know, I find it very difficult to choose a team here. But Haaland's just been so poor recent. We're coming up against a slightly weakened Real Madrid team still. They've got Raul Asensio out, Eder Militao out, Ferland Mendy, Ceballos, and Rodrigo. They're all still injured and won't be available to play this game. Whether Mbappe starts, I don't know. I think he's back in training, but I think they'd probably still rest him for now, given they've got a 3-goal cushion. Maybe if we scored 1 or 2, they might bring Mbappe on. But for now, I wouldn't have thought Mbappe is going to start. Obviously, they didn't miss him at all against us in the first leg. Obviously, Valverde having the blinder that he did. Yeah, listen, this is going to be a very, very tough game. I think the Etihad's going to be bouncing. From what I've seen on social media, we're going to really try and get behind the lads. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be attending. You have to understand money is tight. And yeah, listen, I've just spent, you know, a lot of money going to Madrid the week before. And I have to save a little bit of dough. So I'm not going to be attending this game, unfortunately. But hopefully the lads pull something out the bag. I might try and get there before when the bus comes in so I can support the lads when the bus is coming in and just be a part of that atmosphere a little bit. But like I say, I won't be attending the actual game. So shout out to all the Blues that are going to the game. Hope it's a top atmosphere and I hope we get the result. In terms of score predictions, I think it's going to be 2-1 to City. So obviously that means we're getting knocked out. I feel like with the whole atmosphere, I feel like the lads will be prepared and very up for it. So I feel like we can get a win, but I just feel like we're not going to overturn a 3-0 deficit. I think that is crazy. I think if we do that, it is going to be one of the best nights ever at the Etihad Stadium, and I will be very much missing out. Thank you lot for watching to the end of this video. Please get your predictions in the comments down below. Am I being too pessimistic? Is there any chance that City can win this? Like I say, for me, it's impossible that we overturn this deficit and go through to Bayern in the quarters. Like I say, get your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. It massively helps me out, and I'll see you lot in a bit.